Welcome back, everybody. So we are on to issue 4 of the Build the Millennium Falcon series, and this one should be a semi-quick issue, all things considered. Um, but we will try to do something kind of nice in this one, just to add a little bit of detail, considering no more than what we have to put in. So one of the things this issue talks about is the hull plating. So it's kind of interesting they get into the what they did to create the armor and stuff like that. And these behind the scenes things are pretty neat. And then we have the basically the whole makeup, um, like in real life or whatever, like if it were a real life thing. So yeah, but one of the things I've been considering, and I think I'll go ahead and do it, and then you guys can let me know what you think, is these behind the scenes. These are all, I believe, so far anyway, all about the Millennium Falcon and building the model and different stuff like that. So I think I might go ahead and kind of do spotlights of these. Maybe I'll do them like the first 4 um, issues in one video, so they're all kind of contained together and whatnot. And then you guys can let me know what you think of that, see if it's worth doing some more or whatever. So here we are. This is we're going to be doing in this issue. So we have the front part of the cockpit. It's an interior element, and that goes on right here, as you can see. So we're going to put that on. We have our 2 frames, here, and here's that front part of the cockpit piece. So just to let everybody know, I did already go and wash this. I don't know if I talked about washing these. So, I think I've talked that you want to wash them, but when you wash these, what you want to do is you want to wash them with dish soap. Dawn is the preferred by most people because it helps grease get out of your way. It's going to have grease from your fingers, grease from the release agents, and all that kind of stuff when they pulled out of the mold, and different stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you take this out and you dry it with, a lint-free cloth. In this case, a paper towel. Paper towel works really well, and then you can kind of go from there. So what we're going to do in this one, then we've got screws, some of these 4x4 connectors, and then these screws here for mounting the plating. Now I may hold off on the plating, but we'll get into that when we get there. So here's these. And what we're going to do is we're going to spruce this up because it's going to need it. So one of the things I want to do, I thought about doing some rust, but I don't think I need rust. What I think I really need is just some silver and I don't know, maybe just other little colors. I mean, silver seems like I thought about maybe trying to make a copper. We might try that. Let's take this and so I don't know if I'd be able to make a copper. So I mentioned the model paints, and I think it was one of my last videos. I mentioned the model paints that came with my airbrush. So I'm gonna try them out. So you can see this one just got opened, and we'll see if we can't get it stirred up and use it. As far as I know, they still work. It's just you just got to get them mixed really well. So we're gonna mix it up, and you can see all the. I don't know if you can see that. So you can see all of the sediment gets stuck to my little stick here. But we're gonna get this mixed up and see if we can't maybe come up with some sort of a coppery color. And what we'll do is we'll dry brush this in. Um, so to do copper, what I think I'll do is I'm going to do the silver, and then I'm going to try some brown, and then maybe a drop of red. So we'll see how that goes. So um, we're just going to put that in here, and I don't know how much silver we really need, but we'll put a couple drops, right? Okay, so we have that. So let's get our little dry brush out. Now that we have all this going on, let's go ahead and get the lid back on our yellow. We definitely don't need that going on. Tighten the lid on our brown. Okay, let's get our little dilly bobber here. So we're going to start with our pseudo copper color. And the nice thing is, I mean, we're not dealing with anything that has any kind of rhyme or reason to it. We just need to add some color to it. And the funny thing is, I don't know how much you're going to be able to see um, once it's done. Um, you may not be able to see hardly any of it. Like once it's in the cockpit and all that kind of stuff, you may not see any of this. So it may not really matter, but we will all know about it, you know. So, and I'm just going for, when I did the seats and stuff, I talked about just subtle colors, and that's what all we're doing here. Very subtle coloring. We're not painting this whole thing. That's not the goal. We just want a little bit of coloring here and there. And let's go with this color. A little bit of coloring here and there. Just to, oops, that was a bit heavy-handed. And yeah, that's not bad. So that one's a bit brighter and stands out a little bit more. Which is fine. I'm just going to try to use that color in a couple other spots. It's funny, this copper color that I was going for, I wasn't completely sold that I got it, that I got it very coppery. But then on this paper towel, other than not quite metallic enough, does look more coppery to me. Yeah, see, we're getting some color on here. Okay. Go a little bit down here. Just like whatever this is down here. Give it a little bit of color. Yeah. Okay. And let's go back with this copper color. All right. And I'm going to try to get this copper. All right. Let's actually see if we can't paint this a little bit. So I want to paint this. And then what I'm thinking is I'm going to come back with the silver and do this center part here silver. So, I mean, we're just adding some colors just to kind of give this thing some life. I mean, just a black whatever is pretty boring. We don't want that, so um, we go. Alright, now everything we're going to do is going to be silver. So I put away the silver. I probably shouldn't have, right? Should have kept it out. I wasn't going to be mixing it, but I was going to be using it. So here's the cool thing about dry brushing. So, especially with something like this where we're weathering it, we're, whatever, we're distressing it, mixing it all up, all that kind of stuff. So the best part about that is we don't care as long as we're not putting our brush in the paint in the bottle, right? We don't care if we mix up the colors. I mean, that doesn't bother us at all. So getting some sort of weird color combination is perfectly fine because of what and how we're doing this, right? The purpose behind this is we don't want it to look regular. We want it to look old, and busted, and pathetic, and all those things. Yeah, I've said it before. This is the fastest hunk of junk in space, so we want it to look like that. So let's see what we can do here. It's all about how you hold it. Okay. We got quite a bit of brown still on the paintbrush, which is fine. But just want to get along the edges of this thing here. Just to kind of give it some detail, right? Like maybe it's gotten worn down or something. And then we're going to come back in here. Down through here. Alright. I actually think that's probably enough color. We don't need a lot. We just don't want it plain Jane, So I'm going to set this over here where it can be safe after I drop it. Let that dry a little bit more because, I'll be handling it. Look at that. Looks like I cut myself. Okay, so here we go. Now this is going to mount to this, I'm sure. So what we got to do, we got to turn this upside down. And then we're going to have this one and this one. All right, and okay, I see what we got going on here. So we got something like this. Maybe it's this way. Something like this. Like that. Maybe. there we go. On to the next page, and that's talking about putting this stuff on, which I will tell you right now, I will not be putting this on just yet, and I will explain to you why. So I will test fit all these pieces, but I'm not going to attach these. And so test fitting is very important because it's kind of bound a little bit, and I don't know why. So all of these, here we go. So in all these holes, so like this hole here, um, these pieces have these little tabs on it, and they fit up through the hole. And so you just want to make sure that those fit in there. So I will test fit it. I'm not going to put any screws in right now. And the reason for that is, one, I'm going to be painting the backs of these. I saw somebody else do this, and it he had a great reason for doing it, and I completely agree. So one of the things with this type of plastic, or really any plastic, is if you get a bright light underneath it, and I don't know if you can kind of see that off to the side there, you get a bit of a glow along the edges and where the plastic's really kind of thinner. So I know that there's some hull lights, lights in the hull for like landing lights and stuff like that. So I know there's those type of lights. There's other lights on this thing, and with all those lights, I don't want there to be any kind of glow around any of the LEDs or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to primer this, and what he did, uh, he painted it silver because then it reflects the light back in. He primed it with black primer, and then came back and painted over it with silver. So I'm thinking about doing the same thing, and that helps block all the light. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to um, mask off all of these and paint them. But that might be something I wait and do in the spring when the weather gets nicer because of, uh, I'm just probably just use a rattle can to do it. Not using my airbrush because that'll take forever. And so I'll just spray them that way, and it'll go a lot quicker. And I'll do a bunch at the same time. So yeah, so that's everything. Um, There's the dryer, in case you were curious. Here's another behind the scenes talking about the uh, whenever they're doing shots of the Millennium Falcon. And anyway, so that is all of issue 4. Next, we'll have issue 5, and this will help us get really close to finishing up the cockpit. This should be dry enough now that we can actually stick it on. So we are going to need some glue. So I like to control how much glue I'm putting on because otherwise it gets to be a pretty big mess, and nobody wants that, right? So um, let's do this. And so this is going to mount right here on these two tabs there, and those two are just going to slide inside there. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually put the glue on here. So let me get some glue on here, and then just going to go around it with the glue. And you can get some glue bottles that are a lot more kind of precise on how that glue goes in, but in most instances that's not the case. So, and we just that just goes right up and fits right up to the front of the thing there. And I suppose at this point we can see our two little tabs down here. right there. You can see them. I suppose at this point we might as well take some glue and go ahead and glue that in place. We're not pulling that back up anymore. So we'll just get some glue down there, and um, I mean, it don't really matter where the glue gets on, as long as it gets it. We're just going to put it on those tabs, and that'll hold it in place. I mean, it's not like it's really going to be going anywhere soon. Um, but yeah, so there you go, all put together. There is, at least to this point, our uh, Millennium Falcon dash. What do you think of the colors that we did for that? That's pretty cool. Um, and straighten up that mat, looks crooked. Um, yeah, pretty productive little video. So with that, next time we'll be seeing um, episode 5, or issue 5, I should say. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it and you come back and leave lots of comments. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know about the video sizes, if you want them split up into smaller videos or really big long ones to get it all in one thing or whatever. Let me know. I obviously want to give it to the way you guys want it. So, um, and we'll continue moving on from there. So, all right, guys, have a good one. Bye.